Now, one of our top stories, at least 1,000 people have been killed and 1,500 others injured when an earthquake struck eastern Afghanistan near the Pakistan border. Joining me live is the International Committee of the Red Cross spokesperson, Lucien Christen. He's now in Uzbekistan right now, but he was on the ground in Kabul yesterday. Thank you so much for your time today. Firstly, do we have an update on the death and injury toll there at the moment?
Thanks. As you just mentioned it, the official counts now are mentioning over 1,000 people who lost their lives, over 1,600 who are injured. This count is likely and sadly likely to increase over the next hours and probably days. It's mostly due to the fact that the areas that were hit by the earthquake are remote. They're in rural places in Afghanistan. The time to access these areas, the difficulties made by the earthquake itself, the rains, the bad roads, etc., make the whole thing more complicated.
Those on the ground, what are they saying at the moment?
Eyes on the ground, they're making terrible accounts of the situation. The earthquake happened in the middle of the night, so people, they were not ready to flee. Basically, the houses most likely collapsed on them while they were sleeping. Entire families lost their lives. Relatives now are going back to their home and discovering the scale and the magnitude of the destruction. There are people in need of medical assistance. There are people in need of food, of water, of clothes, of material to shelter themselves from the elements. So the situation on the ground is really bad. We have teams from the Afghan Red Crescent Society that are dispatching first aid, emergency aid, including food, blankets, water, shelter, etc. The ICRC itself is dispatching medical supply to 3 hospitals in Paktika province, which is one of the most affected by the earthquake, and the aid will continue to flow.
Before the Taliban took over, 75% of the government was funded through foreign aid. We've also seen foreign aid organisations pull out. What capacity does the country have to deal with this?
Yeah, you rightly put it. Before the change of government in August last year, the fighting were high. So when the government changed, the fighting decreases, but we also saw the departure of most of the development agencies and funding support to Afghanistan. So the country now is facing a very dire economic situation that is deepened by the economic sanction, that is deepened by the droughts that are faced by Afghan communities, which most of them depend directly on small-scale farming. We have also the price increase due to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. So if you compile all of those elements for an Afghan family today, putting food on the table is really something that is almost getting impossible. It's estimated that 55% of the Afghan population is in need of humanitarian assistance. And if international community doesn't invest back in Afghanistan, the situation is likely to worsen in the coming month.
What would you like to see foreign governments do?
Just this, I think today for the Afghan population, just making ends meet is really a big challenge. People, they don't have income, they cannot access to their funding. Hospitals are also impacted. The energy system, the water supply system is impacted. So yes, international assistance and investment is urgently needed to prevent the situation to further deteriorate.
Lucien Christen, thank you so much for your time today.